Hello, everyone. I'm so happy today to be joined by a dear friend and a VisionPath alumna, Marielena Tsotsou. She will share her story of career transition, career reinvention. So, for all of you who are at a stage that you're thinking maybe you want to pivot, you're already in the process of a pivot, and I can't wait to hear about her pivot, her career pivot. Marielena, tell me, we met about a year ago when I moved to Athens. We're friends, our kids go to the same school. And then you started being familiar with my work, the Self-Love Challenge, and then Vision Path. Where were you a year ago, like when we first met? Let's say, where were you then? Where were you now? And how did the transition happen? But let's start with where were you a year ago?
When we met, I was in the process of dreaming about change. And I still remember the first thing you said to me, even before we started the self love and everything, which did not make sense at the time, but then it did. You said experiment. And I'm
Mm,
like, what does that mean? I wasn't really sure. So then I started thinking, so it must mean something. So I started with the self love, which was really, really nice because it wasn't something that you impose or anything. It was just if you want to, you can do it. And
mm,
it was really soft, let's say. And
mm,
it was also very, for me at least, it was very relaxing, calming, and there was no pressure. Let me just say that it's important for me. And slowly I started understanding, I think, some of the ideas that you were talking about, and that got me thinking, you know what? Why don't I just try a few things? I mean, I'm at the age where I have to do something or it's going to be over soon, which is another discussion. And I started thinking, yes, I'm going to do it. So I joined first I saw the blueprint and then I was very eager to start the vision path, the coaching. And I did. So in the beginning, I was like resisting and I was thinking, okay, everyone knows what they want and I don't really know what I want, but I want to do something. And then I started reading all the things that you were giving us to read and thinking and then trying to help others too because
mm,
that was this is part of me, my character too, like trying to help others. But during this process I started thinking, okay, so I'm giving good advice apparently. Why don't I start doing some of the things that Katerina is also proposing? And I started looking for shops, basically. That was like hands on. So my idea was to start a business, like my own business. And I've always been passionate about cooking and baking. And I said, okay, so what is my passion now? So I said baking. So I started looking for shops. I think I saw around 10 shops and spoke to another 20 people, but maybe the distance, the whole concept didn't match with what I wanted to do. And then I started speaking with people that had companies too. So
mm.
I reached out to a few people and I started thinking, so is this happening? Is this really happening? And then the end of the coaching left me with what I need a holiday. I think I've had enough of everything and I just want to rest. And that's when the last part happened, the decision making, that
Was it
online
quit to
retreat.
recommit, aligned retreat? It was the recommit
Yeah,
process.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was it. And even then, it was like, I think it was like 3 days. So there were 6 sessions. And in the middle of it, I'm like, I need a holiday. I know I need a holiday. And then there was this amazing exercise with a room in the corners. Actually, I was in the same room. And I remember I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. One, two, three. And then suddenly I just made a decision. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to
Wow.
go for it. Yeah. So
Oh,
that
I
was
didn't know
it.
that. I didn't know it happened in that retreat. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
wow. Because in that retreat, I remember our conversation, and I remember you saying, I need a holiday. And I said, your vision is talking to you that you need a holiday. You just don't like the answer. It's not that you're
Yeah,
not connected. I remember that conversation. And yeah, okay. Oh, that's exciting. But let me backtrack because you already knew you wanted a change. You had a successful career as an English teacher to executives for many decades. And I know many people that will listen to this are in the same situation, right? They have a successful career in a certain field. They feel the need for change. And you already had made this decision. This chapter is ending before you joined Vision. But what helped you make the decision or be clear this chapter needs to end? Because many people stay in that old chapter, even though they have outgrown the old chapter. I think that will be useful.
In my case, it was mostly that my job was keeping me in the house because it was a
Mm.
work from home, off home-based office. And I really felt that even though I did love what I was doing, I still love it. I mean, if you tell me, do you want to have I'll have a lesson, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just felt that I was missing out on other things. Like I started hearing things that I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, but I can't do this, People were going out and meeting people and from their jobs too, I'm like, yeah, but I really need this. I really need this. So I started thinking, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get this? And
Yep.
it was a step, really big step for me to get as much as I could from the training so it could make me stronger. I don't know, it's like decisive, but it gave me a lot of things and I'm very grateful for that. The thinking part was the most important for me because when your brain, it's like foggy and you don't know what's happening. And what you were saying was so clear, like, like fear, for example, and thinking. And I don't know if I can use some of the expressions I
Of
remember.
course. Yeah, of
I
course.
remember some of the things that really, struck me were fear is just a thought. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, it's true. But it's true. All the fears that were stopping me, and I'm sure other people are, it's just in
Mm.
your head. It's just in our heads. It's
Can you
not
give some
real.
examples of some of those fears that you realize, oh, that's a thought. It's not.
Disappointment, failure, all of that, like the feeling of, oh my God, I didn't, I tried, but it didn't happen. I didn't even try, in your head, you don't even
Yeah.
try. It's just a thought, but it's like a punch in the stomach feeling. So I think I got the help I needed and I powered through. That's really what
Yeah.
I feel.
I
That's
just
really what
realized
I feel.
I like that you bring the fear of failure because I, I hear it a lot. And my understanding is we can handle a lot, like even if something professional fails, as long as you again can control the thinking and you don't make it mean something about your worth or something about
Exactly.
your future, or like it's never gonna work for me. I'll never like usually it's so painful because either we make, oh, I'm not good enough, you make it mean something which is irrelevant, or something about the future, then we're kind of hopeless. So if this failed means everything will fail. If you just say, okay, this didn't work, it was an experiment that failed, you will have disappointments, but through the years, I realized disappointment is a few days. It's not like a
Yeah,
crushing.
maybe even a few hours, to be honest, because I've had a lot of things that in my head could have disappointed me and made me
Yeah,
afraid of doing things. But when it came to that moment, it was like, okay, so what do I do to fix this? Or
exactly.
what should I do to? I didn't feel it. That's the difference. When you actually get to that point of something might happen and you're like, okay, so what do I do now? But it's different when you haven't taken a step. So steps matter. Okay.
Yeah,
And especially the first step. I think my first step was to join the coaching. Like that was my first step. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then
yeah,
the second step for me was starting to look for shops. And the third and very important was talking to people about like other people like that had shops or experience. And I'm like, okay, because people are just like us, and it's good to share and it's fine.
yeah.
So steps need to be made, but
Yeah.
it sounds like scary at the beginning, like, oh my God, but then when you actually start making the step, it just happens, like
Yes.
opportunities open. They don't have to be grand opportunities, but like a little step at a time, baby steps.
Yeah, I love it. Action, like the week number 4, I think I've named Action Creates Clarity. I think I've named the
Yeah,
work because, and also there was this research, what separates people who want to become entrepreneurs with the people who become entrepreneurs. And it was, there is like they say, it's a small even a small investment. And it could be the course, right? Because you make an investment. So
yes,
you're
of
like
course.
now I've paid this money, I'm giving my time.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do, like, it's a commitment
It
that
is, it
towards a
is.
certain path. Like for me, I remember I had paid for a logo when I first did, and I just sending them, and I had paid for my education for my master's in coaching, which was more money. But I was like, I can always use coaching skills. Like that was not the commitment. It was the logo sending to a designer. And I remember it was like, what, $500 I had paid for the logo. But that investment, I was like, oh, I paid $500 now. Now I need to have a business. It was that investment that I was like, made it real, like the thing, the first step. And then, as you said, opportunities will come, ideas will come.
They do. Yeah, yeah. It's true they do because even now, I mean, I don't consider that I've made everything, I've done everything, but like the steps I've taken are going to lead me somewhere. And it's like a journey, and I like it. I'm living
Yeah.
every day as it comes, and I'm happy and positive. And at the end of the day, it's a really big experience for me. And I
Oh,
love this. And
oh.
again, thank you so much.
No, that's great. And it is about the journey. Like some people were so it is the destination. No, what makes you're creating something you care about, and it's about that in the end of the day. We want to be creative and expressing our love and through food, through our work.
Yeah.
But for me, there was a sudden transition because I remember in the retreat and in Vision Path that I'm still not clear. What I'm hearing from my navigation system is I'm not ready yet. I need some time off. I had left it at that, and then I received a super excited message. I have a restaurant now, and I was like, "Oh, how did that happen?" So how did that happen? I was
Okay,
looking forward
so
to our discussion.
okay, so it was like I think my everything just started clicking, or I got some power, I don't know how to call it, and I was energized, let's say. Okay, so suddenly, when I said, okay, so now I'm going to make a decision, it just gave me the push. So I was reading your title over and over again. And I was
Oh,
like, yeah, I was reading the title of the retreat. I'm like, okay, commit. Okay, okay, let's do this.
oh, the quit or recommit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it
So I'm
was.
not a quitter. That's what I thought
Oh,
at that moment. I kind of connected like, okay, resting or taking time off with quitting on my dream at that moment. And I said, no, I'm not
wow.
gonna take the easy way out. I'm gonna do it. So that
You
was
see,
that
like
was basically it.
I love hearing that because my assumption was that the opportunity came that excited you, but it was not the opportunity, it was a decision, an internal
It was the
decision.
decision. It was the decision making. Yeah. The opportunity, I think I could have found more, to be honest. I could
All
have done
right.
it myself. I could have done it later. I really needed to make that decision because it meant a lot for me, making a decision.
Okay, so that idea that I need holiday, I need to rest, I'm not ready, it was more resistance rather than
I
real
think
guide. It
so.
was
Yeah, yeah.
more
I think it
like
was.
I go into the coaching, all the uncomfortable feelings are coming up, and I kind of freeze. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it
okay,
was it was like fear, all of it, a mixture of things. Because I think that there was not enough time for me from the retreat, from the coaching to the retreat. There was not enough time to process also like things, and also at the same time I was looking for the shop and everything, and suddenly, there was a retreat, and it was on my birthday actually, and it was also very important for me. I think the day that was the decision making was on my birthday, and I missed the first part because we had a lunch thing, and then the second part I'm like, okay, I'm doing this.
wow, I never knew that. I never knew that
Yeah.
this decision happened in the retreat. And I'm glad you're mentioning the birthday. First of all, a lot of people who join VisionPath is like usually a big birthday. It doesn't have to be a big birthday, but often the what you said in the beginning, like I want the next chapter of my career. I had already
Yes,
big, long, successful to be
yes,
something else. So a lot of people, like the age, the passage of time, how you use this time, it's a factor when it comes to I'd like to do something else or something that makes me come alive now, not who I was
yes.
20 years ago.
Exactly. It's important because, I mean, I'm a true believer in changes and adapting, but until now, the change and the adaptation was for uncomfortable things or things that you had to do, and it's okay, I'll adapt. But now
Yeah.
it was like a change and to adapt to something that I wanted, that made me happy. So it's also adapting to something new. And I still have feelings, like, will
Yeah.
I do it? Will I not do it? What about my family? Am I giving them enough time? All of that is every day. It's not just once. Don't just think of it once. And every day I try to make my day important for me and for my family. And I hope I'm doing it. But I really want to. And my friends and everything counts.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's not the time, it's the energy. And when work gives you energy rather than drains your energy, you have more energy for the loved ones and the friends as well. That's what I've
Definitely,
noticed. That's what I've
definitely,
noticed. And also,
definitely.
you give the example. I was thinking before we hop on how to frame this discussion. I think it's so beautiful to record you at this point of your life for your daughters. Maybe in the future they're in a transition and they will be able to watch the
I hope
videos.
so. Yeah.
It's also giving an example of how do I navigate the transition? How do I connect with something I'm passionate about? Because that's what we want for our kids too.
Yes, of course. It's very important that everyone feels that they can make a change and be happy with what they're doing.
Yeah. But I also want to say that there's no pressure and it takes time and we cannot rush the clarity and we cannot rush the transition because you want to do it. It emerges for you and it was in a retreat setting. Like now that I'm thinking, it was, you had a lovely meal with your family for your birthday.
Yeah.
We were doing, it was, we were trying to regulate the nervous system. It happened in a meditation. It
Mm-hmm.
was a guided somatic practice. Like it
Yes, yes,
wasn't,
it
"Oh, I
was.
need to think and record. Like it happens once you do relax your nervous system. And I think all of that, when we leave the panic that I have to
It's
decide and I
true.
need to force,
It's
when
true.
you
Yeah, yeah.
release the force, and maybe it was giving permission, okay, if I want to rest, I'll rest. And when you give the permission, then the clarity emerges. That has been my experience with so many clients.
That's actually important because when I said it to you, and I felt that you like, yes, you can rest, you can do whatever you want. And then I've said, oh,
Yeah.
okay, so that's interesting. I can rest. I've never rested in my life. I've never had a big holiday. I'm like, okay, so, okay, it's fine. I can rest. And then I'm like, but do I really want to rest? Or
Oh, that's called paradoxical coaching. I didn't do it on purpose, but that's how it worked. Like you just say you say yes, and the client says, "Oh, actually, that's not what I really want," because that's true. A lot of the burnout, we always think, and the burnout I've had, it's because you work too much, but it's usually because you do things that are not exciting, and the moment something excited comes, like
yes,
I was feeling I did the blueprint the last couple of weeks and I was feeling, you give it live streaming to hundreds of people. I was feeling tired. And then a new idea came in the weekend and I got so excited. A new idea about a retreat I wanted to create. And we created the graphics with my son and we did the photo shoot. It was me who I was tired like on Friday and exhausted. And, I had the cold.
exactly. Yeah.
But the moment the inspiration came, it brings you alive. All the energy came all of a sudden. I wasn't tired anymore. I was doing like a new branding for a new
That's
thing.
true.
Okay, so I love what I'm taking out of this, that we can allow ourselves a process. We often need to walk through fear of failure, give ourselves
Yes.
permission to listen to ourselves rather than put the shoulds that how we've been conditioned to. And then the spark of clarity comes in that retreat.
Hmm.
What happens after the clarity comes? You get the clarity. What did you do next?
I started planning, I think. I after comes, after the whole feelings are, let's say, in a good place,
Yes.
then you start saying, okay, so now what do I do? Practical things.
Yeah.
Like, how do I do this? You start asking, and I had a lot of help. Okay, my partner is someone who's already has another company, and we decided to do this together. I felt very safe. Okay.
Yeah. Co-founder.
However, yes, however, it still feels like I have things to do, and I'm also part of this. And it's a bit scary sometimes, because failure does come in automatically, fear, let's say. But at the end of the day, it's just I try to relax. I do some meditation, I do some breath work. And I said, okay, so today, relax. It's okay. Let's do whatever, do what you know, and then you will be okay. And then I found that I'm starting to experiment also, because I was really like black and white. And now I'm like, okay, so why don't I try this today? So it's a process. I think
It's always a
it's always a
process. They
process.
were never
Yeah.
finished products.
Exactly, exactly. So process for sure. And I think with a lot of positivity and love. I think love is important for me. It's like I I love what I'm doing. I love people. I just feel like it's important to love.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. And when you're doing it out of love and alignment, whatever happens, it's easier to handle because we can't control external circumstances, right?
definitely
Oh, COVID
not.
happened, restaurants like were
Yes.
in, like we can't control anything. But at least you enjoyed it. Like when I find my clients being really devastated when things go wrong is when they were sacrificing and doing something for the
Mm-hmm.
outcome. And then let's say money or whatever. And when it doesn't come, then it's devastating because you've wasted, sacrificed the process, not
Yeah.
enjoying it, working really hard, and then
Mm,
the outcome doesn't come. Then it feels really devastating. But while you enjoy the process and you're creative and expressing and doing it out of love, you do your best you can, and then you dance with the world and the universe. You can't control the world. Like we'll
exactly.
dance.
You
Like
can't control the world, can't control the weather. It's the same
exactly.
thing. Yeah, on a rainy day, like if you're at, let's say I'm at the shop and I'm like, okay, so everything is ready and the shop looks good and we have a lot of products and we're waiting for someone to pass by and then it rains. I'm like, okay, doesn't matter. Tomorrow. But
Yeah.
what should I do now? And I try to find something else. I don't just, wait and say, oh my God, no one's coming. No, I'm not going to lose my.
The hope and also not make it mean something about us. I think that was helped
Exactly.
me because
Exactly. It's
I'm a
personal.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
personal.
It's not personal. It's actually funny, but it's really not personal.
It's not, no.
Yeah.
And we're not like our worth versus the work. Like work, you can try if like for you, dessert sometimes is awesome. Sometimes you experiment. It doesn't like for me, it's the writing. I'm telling it to hear myself, right? Because I write every day, and I just when I disassociate it, sometimes the writing is good. People love it, and sometimes less people love it. That's fine.
I
Like
love it.
good. Thank you. Okay, so what's your advice? We have the new cohort of VisionPath starts in a week,
Mm-hmm.
and there are those people joining might be in similar situations, like people wanting to pivot or people that they don't know what they want and they want clarity. What would be your advice on people who are in the beginning of this transition?
I think it's important to be relaxed when you're listening to other people too, because you have a lot of triggers when you listen to other people, because you somehow, I remember the word right now, everyone says the same thing and you're like, oh my God, I'm not alone. So that is important. So
Mm.
first of all, I think people will realize that everyone has exactly the same feelings, but for different things. And once they relate to this, so okay, so it's okay, I'm not alone. And then you start to figure out why you have the blocks, because we talked about the blocks a lot. And while you're thinking about the blocks, again, it has to be, I think you need like, I don't know if there's a structure to feelings, but take it slowly. I think that's what I would recommend. And any resistance that comes up, I think it's good. Anything that
Yeah,
comes in
because
the
it comes to the
surface,
right.
exactly. The more resistance, the better it is, because I think if someone really wants to figure it out, they will figure it out. And have an open mind, like open in every way, like open ears, open mind, open eyes. And I think it's always an opportunity to also meet people, and when you relate to these people, a lot of things happen, and it's good things.
I love that you bring the importance of the community in general, not only
Yes.
for the VisionPath cohort, though we create community. And by the way, I followed your advice. Now the Tuesday meetings are community calls. We do a lot more breakouts because you told me this is the best thing. And I love talking with my peers. So now it's different in this cohort, and thanks to your
Okay,
recommendation.
thank you.
So
You're
so
welcome.
the weekly workshop is now called weekly community call.
Excellent.
Yes, and I introduced AI to guide you through the exercise. It's like I'm like AI can do that, but community we need to do it as humans. So I'll
Yes,
focus a lifetime, like telling you the
yes.
exercises and talking. Like I will like let's have AI help with that and let's focus on community. So thank you because this is a gift to you
On my plan.
from your feedback. But in general, for everyone listening, because it will be people who are in the wider community when you're transition, I think it's so important to find people who will support you and hold you without pressuring you one way or another.
Yes,
The people, your family can be very supportive, but often they're afraid and they're reflecting your own fears about the transition and your friends and family, or so they can be very supportive, but you also need someone who will support the transition. I found like
exactly,
not
exactly.
everybody
And
has,
no,
you
it's
know,
not
friends
the
and family
same.
are know the old you and they might want to protect the old you. Like often I hear people, oh, my friends and family are not supportive in my pivot. And I'm like, it's normal. They're reflecting your own fears because they love you and they want to protect you and they don't
Yes,
want you to
it's
be disappointed.
yeah, if people are looking for support from family, and I found in my family, but it's not always the case, and it
It's not
wasn't the
always the
case in the
case.
past either. Okay, I think because I was so excited and determined, I got support, but okay, but it's not the same. Like when I got, we we met up with some of the
Yeah.
girls,
Visionaries.
the visionaries, yes. And we realized that, like we feel good because we know why we're here. And it's different when you call a friend, and it's different when you speak to someone who's in the same,
Yeah.
phase, let's say, as you
And
are.
also, I noticed that the people, because you started meeting after the cohort as well, all the people in this group had major transitions. And
All of us.
I don't think that's by chance. I think
No,
having
all of
the
us, all
nurturing of
four
the
of
community,
us. Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the commitment to actually let's do this, let's commit to the process, let's support each other.
Yeah,
I think
it was
that's
very important. It was very important. It is very important. We still meet up. Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. That's
And
amazing.
I think we're all joining the,
You're a new frontier.
of
Yeah.
course, and also November 4th, right?
Oh
So
yeah, the first
we're,
community call.
yes, yes,
Yay.
yes, we're gonna be there. Hopefully,
Wait,
I'm gonna try to make as many as possible, because what I was thinking, and I shared it with the girls, was that now that we've all taken the step, it's an opportunity to revisit everything else now, because maybe it's not just about taking a business step or the job. So I said it's such an opportunity, and I'm very excited to
yeah.
revisit, and it's going to be like a new one now.
It is. And
Yeah.
I have two people who've done it three times. And every time, the first time is for career. Usually that's what brings you in.
Yeah,
And the second time she was like, oh, it was about my personal life now. Or
exactly. And
there's
that's what
always
I
something.
wanted. I wanted to say, it's like when I was at the first one, because there's going to be a second one coming up. I was looking at people, and they said, "So you've done this before?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but why are they here?" Now I get it. So they're here because they want to, yes, go to the
Yeah,
next.
because
Exactly.
it's never end. Like you always need to navigate. And
Exactly.
also, I found because environment changes, sometimes I have a plan, like I've connected to the vision, I have the plan, and then something happens and I need to pivot. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes to connect to yourself. But you always want the community, you always want the mentorship.
Of
You always go into
course.
your head and or the coaching go into your head and you say, oh, I'm afraid of this now, or how do I deal with it? Like having and I'm so glad that this community is like people can come back whenever they want. Like I love
Oh,
that.
I'm glad. I'm very, very glad.
That's another thing that releases the pressure. You don't have like it's not that you need to take everything. All right. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up the conversation? You've been so generous with your insights and learnings.
I think that really the most important thing for me was to realize that what I said before, I'm like summing up now. Fear is just a thought,
Yeah.
experiment, baby
Yeah.
steps.
So
And
good.
then
Yeah.
the path will be
Yeah.
laid out slowly or fast, it depends.
It
But
depends.
it will happen once you go into this process. And it's a beautiful process. And you discover a lot of things about yourself. And in the beginning, I was like, do you want to, are you sure? I was asking the questions to myself. And then I'm like, you know what? You're fine. You can do this. And the inner voice is very important.
And you know what I've observed? Usually the clients that they appear to be struggling the most. They will ask the questions, they will have a lot of feeling. As you said, the resistance is coming up. Usually are the ones that have the biggest transformations later. And I've seen this. People launch businesses and like, some of the case studies we have. I never reveal this, but I'm like, this successful case study during Vision Path was the person DMing me with questions like, Dash, what am I? I'm not talking about you right now. I'm just saying when you said the resistance is good to come up, I'm like, these are usually the people who deal with the resistance during the and they ask and they bring it to me to get support. It means they're working through it and they you see the biggest breakthroughs.
And also, remember, there's always a connection, Katarina, with you. You have to be aware of it because for me, the first thing was you. The connection with you was very important. And trust, like I felt a lot of trust and to guide me. So I think that's what happens. Like the people who ask you and people like it's a trust thing too. And I feel very safe, you know. And again, I cannot thank you enough. And I'm really grateful. I'm very happy. Like I feel love.
That's amazing. And thank you for sharing the story because that's an inspiration for many people. You can go through the transition, feel the resistance,
And it's
battle with the
okay.
resistance for a while, and it's okay. Like you move through it. And now I can see like when I saw this excited message, I was like, really? Like last time we talked, we were handling resistance, and now it's like so exciting. Like it was such a change. And I was like, I was so happy when you said, oh, I'll come for an interview. I was like, yes, I want to know what happened. Yeah. And the resistance, I know now, week number 4, where it's action, I know that's when most of the resistance, when I say, let's experiment, that's like when if you didn't have resistance before and now it's
You're gonna
predictable
have it now.
week number 4 and I see it in every single cohort like the messages on week number 4 and I'm like it's part of the process now it's easier for me when I've done it several times I'm like this is part of the process and that's what we move through and then in the end you're just enjoying your life more. All right,
That is true. That is true.
thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Oh,
Thank you
thank you.
everyone. And oh, the restaurant, like where people can find you, where like when
Oh,
can we taste
okay.
those beautiful desserts? I almost forgot.
Okay, so we're in the northern suburbs in
Yes,
for
in
people
Greece.
who live in Athens. And the name is Comptoir because in French it means bench or pagos in Greece, so it's like two
Yeah.
benches. And one is food and the other is desserts. And we hope you can come.
I'm definitely coming. Like I was like, now that the launch is over, like
Yes,
I'm coming. I'm coming.
I'll be there.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, everyone,
Thank you.
and see you next time.